It's a growing feeling that modern football has become robotic, predictable, and somewhat boring. We've gone from the creativity, the genius, and the athletic arrogance of players like Neymar, Ronaldinho, Adriano, Del Piero, Totti, Henri Bergkamp, and many, many others, to experiencing Gabriel Martinelli doing a half-hearted feint and passing it backwards every single time. Now, it's certainly uplifting to see the likes of Lamine Yamal and Desiree Doué breaking into top football, but it seems like they're like a remnant of a past era breaking through the masses of modern, boring footballers who can only seem to play good football when they have a hyper-controlling coach like Pep or Klopp telling them exactly what to do, when to do, and how to do it, as if the coach has to play the players like an Xbox controller. Football used to be about that X factor, the unquantifiable, the moments of instinctual genius you couldn't have dreamed of. That's something special that every football owner, director, coach, and scout would scour the earth for, just hoping to get that next Neymar, that next talent that was going to transform world football. Now, I'm going to explain to you exactly what's destroying the football world from the inside out. Number one is human vitality. In the last 10 years alone, let alone the last 30, 40, and 50 years, we've seen an unprecedented spike in chronic mental and physical ailments. Conditions such as autism, bipolar, ADHD, insulin resistance, obesity, anxiety, and of course, an epidemic of injury, physical injury, both chronic and acute, non-contact and contact. All of these so-called slow burn health issues severely detract from an elite athlete's cognitive performance at the highest level and prevents the spontaneity that abundant vitality creates. And even if you're a world-class athlete watching this, if your cognitive performance is lagging, your mental ability to focus, manifest, and materialize new ideas in real time is going to take a hit. So then it's easier to play robotically. It's easier to follow tactics. It's easier to think in straight lines as opposed in spirals, as opposed to curving the ball. You only think inside a box. The unlimited number of options that is available to you if you allow yourself to think in those terms. But if you box yourself in with a limited cognitive performance, if your brain does not simply have the extra resources to think a little bit more, to have the creative juices, then football itself is going to become robotic, predictable, and boring. So number two, the fostering of creativity is dying. Modern academies are killing football development. The ability to problem solve separates top performers from the grunts. It separates Champions League ballers from third division professionals, many of which have the same muscle mass, the same height, and the same size. The only difference between those guys is the ability to problem solve mentally and physically execute the solution, otherwise known as athleticism. But do you know where you foster creativity, where you build that ability to problem solve on the fly? It's the court, it's futsal, it's 5v5, it's Sunday league. And yet footballers are not on the court anymore. I just talked to a client of mine. He says their coach literally fines any player at the club if they catch them playing futsal or indoor or any kind of outdoor or outside league from their club. Unstructured environments where free play is encouraged and the flow state rules all. Modern academies, ball drill trainers, and sports science has been taking that away inch by inch over the years in a failed attempt to outsmart natural talent development. And yet, every single summer, top clubs go to the favela to pluck the next Neymar, the next so-and-so. But instead of Neymar, we have Rodrigo, we have Martinelli, we have even Vinicius Jr., all great players, but not Neymar, not Adriano, not any of the top players of before that were capable of something special, that were capable of something unique, that jogo bonito. You know what I mean? So this second point of fostering creativity, I think it's a big point, obviously, but but it's so simple as well. If you literally let kids play the game and you don't try to make them play the way you want in your robotic adult patterns that you've created over your lifetime, that you've shoved everything into a box because you're afraid of change. The kids can think more than you. The kids can problem solve better than you on the fly. They'll be able to create solutions that you haven't even thought of. All new ideas come from outsiders, from the next generation. So we need to let young players elaborate that, to articulate. We need to let them speak their own voice instead of trying to control them like an Xbox controller. Third point, the gym. And yes, I know, there's no way the gym can be bad for you. And the person that's saying that down below in the comments, yeah, it's you. You're the unathletic trainer who wasn't good enough to play pro football. It's okay. I understand. I'm not hating on you. I'm just telling you, if you were a top-level footballer and you had the athletic ability, you would understand what I'm saying. I've never had a pro player tell me I'm wrong. It's only the non-athletic, injured trainers that weren't good enough, or it's some kid who's like 12 years old who is somehow has become addicted to bodybuilding at a young age. Those are the haters that try to disagree with nature, with reality, with the proof in the pudding. Because you know what happens in the gym? Humans are stuffed into man-made paradigms of movement. Supination, pronation, eversion, inversion, internal, external rotation. These are human constructs. They're not spirals. The human body is smart. It was created over hundreds of thousands of years, evolved into perfection. And if you think human science can come along and even in just 100 years, even in just 10 years, start telling the body what to do and outsmart nature, outsmart natural talent development, you're absolutely insane. Humans are forced into ranges of motion and muscular contractions that are the opposite of the free-flowing, spiraling movement we saw and loved from great players like Neymar, Ronaldinho, and Henry. And even more, athletes are molded into soldier-style, robotic, conscious movements instead of the unconscious, problem-solving movements you develop outside playing sports and having fun. Yes, that's right. Having fun will change your biomechanics. You chasing a ball against an opponent with a big, goofy smile on your face, you will run differently than if you're running on a treadmill. I absolutely guarantee it. The brain, the subconscious, and the rest of the body are more linked than we know. And if you still don't believe me, let me draw up some very clear comparisons of why the gym is so absolutely backwards for elite performance. You're told that you need to do heavy bilateral lifting. Bilateral means on 2 feet on the same line, like a deadlift or a barbell back squat. But yet all football movements are unilateral, which means 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. Those lifts are bilateral on 2 feet. So now you've already messed up a core component of human biomechanics, which are unilateral. On top of that, most, if not all, football movements are done via the forefoot or the ball of the foot. When you run, you should be landing on the forefoot, on the ball of the foot. Your ankle should have enough tension to be a stiff lever and be able to allow the force to come through the foot up into the posterior chain of the body and not get stuck in the calf and the quad, which is what you see with most athletes that have the injuries or have, let's say not as good of movers, is their ankles are very weak, which then their muscles in the calf and the quad have to compensate, and ultimately they're not very fluid and athletic. Now compare that to what you do in the gym. All those lifts reinforce pushing through the heels. So again, that's the second opposite pattern of movement that you're reinforcing with heavy bilateral lifting in the gym. The third point is all athletic movements, like running, you're supposed to have strong, stiff ankles. So when you land and you hit the ground with that foot, you can actually propel off the ground. If you have a floppy, loose ankle, the ankle collapses when you land, and that creates a domino effect where the knee comes in, your hip collapses, and you have all these nasty biomechanics that lead to ACL tears, Achilles tears, etc. Now on the flip side, with bilateral lifting, they literally tell you to get more flexible, looser ankles. Why is that? Is because they're trying to force you again into a man-made paradigm of how can we lift more weight on this bar. And yes, to help you lift more weight on the bar, if you can get better ankle mobility on the way down and obviously on the way up, that will help you get lower into the squat. Sure, that's great for that. But if that's your goal, then do it. But obviously, if you're a footballer, if you play any other sport, your goal is not to be a barbell lifter. Your goal is to play your sport well and be athletic and be injury free. So that is the third point of how literally opposite gym work is than your sport. The fourth point is all athletic movements utilize rotation and spinal spirals. Bilateral lifts reinforce a tight braced core to protect the spine. I think this is probably the most obvious one, is when you're lifting a big heavy weight on your shoulder or you're lifting it from the ground in a deadlift, your core needs to brace and stiffen up to protect your spine, to literally protect your spine from breaking and collapsing, or else your spine will collapse and you'll be in the hospital. So that pattern of movement, that pattern of, let's say, muscular co-contraction that you are reinforcing, that you're trying to improve with bilateral weightlifting, is the exact opposite of what you do when you run. Running is rotational. It's unilateral. The torso and the spine moves like this. Your shoulders need to move like this. Your head goes over the foot that's landing. There's a natural back and forth that is called the spinal engine. You can go online and research that yourself. But it's just kind of obvious. You watch any cat or dog crawl, you'll see their spine going like this. If you watch a baby walk when they're very, very young, you'll see that they start doing small little spiral movements. And as they grow into an adult and they get shoved in the gym and they get shoved into chairs, they lose that. They become more robotic. Their core is stiff and braced because we have this role model of six-pack abs from magazines, and so people totally think they have to keep this ultra flex, always contracted muscles in the abdomen, and ultimately that leads to other issues downstream in the future in their pelvic floor. But anyways, gym work. I've just explained 4 concrete ways that everything you're doing in the gym is the exact opposite of what you need to be doing, or what you need to be doing to be an elite athlete, and what elite athletes literally are doing as we speak right now on the field. So to sum things up, there are many things wrong in modern football, but it's scary to see the soul of the game drifting farther and farther away from what made all of us fall in love with it in the first place. Fun. The possibility of the unknown, the chance something insane could happen, all that flows from one thing: speed. The speed to think and move on your toes. Many footballers have lost touch with what I'll refer to as intuition because of the dopamine chase of social media, processed foods, drugs, porn, and artificial living in general. When things are fast, they're fun. That's why all men love fast cars. It's just nature. It's just natural to us. And that's why over the last 3 months, I've been working on something called the PACE protocol. We all love to pace abuse. Who doesn't? So down below in the description, I've left a link to more information about the PACE protocol, where I'm showing you my solution to fix the football world, to help create more Neymars, and give you a solution, give you a path away from becoming another stat of a wannabe footballer who was injured, or a guy that just couldn't make it. And if you're a pro footballer, getting you from Liga to the Champions League, getting you from second tier into the first division in any top league in Europe. I'm working with players at Arsenal, AC Milan, Everton, Anderlecht, all these top clubs around Europe. If you want to learn about speed, hit that link down below and sign up for the PACE protocol. It's the world's only speed program for ambitious footballers that are tired of getting no results in the gym, doing yoga, doing Pilates, all these mindless, symptom-based band-aids of the sick animal that we call the modern healthcare system. I'm Taylor, the founder of Football Entangled. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Get outside, get in the sun, get barefoot, start playing some more football, 5v5, have some fun, cross-train a little bit, and eat some good food. All right, guys, enjoy. I'll see you soon.